slicks
Have at it, man. Whatever you want.
of
Work it
the
out.
height of the standard.
Okay.
Okay, got that, and then I have the rail, so you can talk there. I'm going to be providing to Gene all of the material. I'm going to email it to him, so you guys can put it on those little sticks or whatever. And I have little cups there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing? Thank you. Get over there. Okay, shoot.
I have.
Paper towels work.
Even if we get one of these.
We make our own, right? I have no idea what that means.
What do you mean? Is that ringtone?
I guess that's a voice somebody just left me. Oh my God. Run left me.
Wait.
Oh.
So you guys can put them on those little, what do you call them? I call them, no, little sticks that you plug in. I can't remember what they call those.
Flash drives.
Flash drives, there we go. Put it on the flash drive and you put it on your own computer and everything, and you can get them printed as you need it or want and stuff.
If you need help with that, Rick, let me know, because I got, I work at a copier company, so
Need help with what?
printing stuff out.
Oh, you do?
I work for a copier company, alternative office systems for Ricos.
Oh, okay.
And I
Well,
got-
then that'll be great. I'll provide you all the stuff, and then you can print up whatever they need. So.
And I got a good connection with high volume printing design, large format printing. I don't know if you guys already have that or not. But
No, not really. I mean, we
have a need
just.
for it, or whatever. But I got it. I do a lot of printing, and I've sent this guy a lot of business, and he does high volume, business cards, these.
Banners.
Banners, whatever you need.
Yeah, and then we're having this made with just specifically our high cube versus the standard. This is the standard, and the high
So
cube.
you got a printing guy?
Yeah. I used to have I used to own a graphic design business, graphic design and multimedia stuff.
Cool. Yeah, we definitely.
I'm a barber, so I got pretty much connections with just about
Everybody,
anything
huh?
you need. Yeah.
So our goal is to eventually get into these trade shows and have our computer there and stuff, which means we'll need booths and banners and all that.
Oh, we know people that do that too. Yeah.
Being in
Yeah.
logistics, I probably have a nice stack of business cards with convention centers, trade shows.
When is this spice show?
Usually it's usually around the winter, late winter, about September. Usually, I remember if they haven't changed anything. And usually they come in super sacks, 9 times out of 10. They come in super sacks. They put them on these massive pallets. Depending on the freight companies, usually 9 times out of 10, they don't use the bigger, more expensive companies. They use the little mom and pop, privately owned companies most of the time. And because they have to be, there's a certain certification they have to have with customs. So customs will say, okay, we'll be here on this day, to take a look at your spices.
They'll go through it all,
And do it all. So these spices have to stay contained, closed, can't be open, can't be ripped, can't be none
Where
of
did
that.
they come from? Where do they come from?
Everywhere. China, Japan, all over the place. And these are expensive
That's-
spices. And I had no idea until
And
I
they fill
started.
containers full of them in super
Yeah,
sacks.
yep, in super sacks, and they put them in warehouses that are, like I said, custom certified. There's a certain certification they have to meet. All the drivers, everybody, all the employees have to be TSA certified and all that. And they sit there until customs has to come back there and do their thing, and they say, "Oh, okay, great." Now then they have to load it on the truck and go wait for 18 hours to sit there
Crazy.
and. Get
That's
it done.
all. That's gotta be a great market.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. So the sales approach to that would be, again, walk me through your sales cycle on that, okay? To find out where the spices are originated at,
Okay.
what happens to them? Do you guys, they originated here, they get put in a truck, then they take to a super sack location, then they super sack them, and then those super sacks get loaded onto, pallets, and how many do you get into a container, and then that container gets put onto a ship? How do y'all own the containers? Do y'all lease the containers? You know, I mean, these are all questions I'm just saying down the road and then the container comes into the shipyard, then it gets picked up by another truck, or do you have to unload it from that container into another container that
Right.
you own that you take off?
Yeah, it is.
So I mean, those are the kind of the questions that you need to find out. If they own their container all the way through, that's better for us, so they're already used to that model. If they don't own their container, I don't want to say it's better for us. It's maybe a quicker transition. If they don't own their container all the way through, and they have like 2 or 3 different containers that these super sacks go into, that's awesome. That's huge. That's all handling. That's all money that somebody they're paying for. That they eliminate all that handling. So
Either model works.
either model works. It's just sometimes. So then they might, and that's the perfect thing if you're having a lot of handling, because you can say, well, how about you just take, I don't know how many containers y'all do in a month? They might say 20. Okay, how about you take 2 containers and just compare how they get through and
That
how it is.
average little small mom and pop logistical company out here that have these containers shipping in, they average per convention, they average anywhere between 20 to 60 containers that they have to empty. And usually from looking at when I used to see the manifest when these containers are coming in, they weren't companies, they were people that own these containers. So they knew what was on there and they gave us specific instructions of what to do with it. And
That's the list that you want to call off of, right there.
Okay.
Those are the people that you want.
Okay.
Okay, because they might own those containers on the final leg, but they didn't own those containers that started off over in Vietnam that went to a shipping container, and then it came over here on the ship, and the ship, like Maersk, may have owned that container, and then it was your customer's job to go to that container and take all the bags out of that container and put it into my own container, and that's the container that's leaving the shipyard's eyes.
Right.
So that's where you can say, listen, you know, you don't need to do that anymore. I mean, how much did you just pay to transfer the same amount of super sacks from here to here?
Right.
You know, how much did you pay to rent that container, Maersk's container, just to get it overseas?
Right. Or how much did you pay that company to just store it in their warehouse, just to sit there
Yeah.
and wait for it to get through customs or whatever the case may be?
Yeah. So those are great. So also they're going to have product loss during shipping. If you're moving all these super sacks and they're moving them from, let's just use Vietnam. They come from Vietnam, they get from wherever the chemical place is to the shipyard. That's one transaction. Okay, even getting it into the shipyard is one transaction. Then from your truck to the ship in containers, one transaction. And then from the ship to your truck back here in the U.S. is one transaction. So you can ask them, how many bags break? 1 out of 100? 1 out of 25? We have companies that tell us that they lose a bag every shipment. That's 1 of 18.
Right.
You know, and you're talking about a ton and a half. That bag's a ton and a half, and once it breaks, you're not putting it back in.
A, you're not putting it back in. B, you got to clean it up then.
Right.
Yeah, there's
You
cleanup
know,
too.
there's cleanup.
So that's
There's-
product
there's-
loss.
There's a lot that goes into it that companies just say that's the cost of doing business. It's really not the cost of doing business. It's the
They
cost
just
of,
accepted it.
it's an accepted cost of doing business. So if you could say, okay, if I just eliminate that for a year, how much is that?
And you're bringing chemicals over from Vietnam, India, Cambodia. It rains every day. How much of that? It rains every day over there. And you're telling me you're putting stuff on a conveyor, or you're super sacking stuff, or you're transporting from one container to another, and you got a 10-foot gap. How much? 5%? I mean, if it gets wet, how much is lost? Cement, you get wet cement in a super sack, it's gone. They'll scrape the whole top 10% off, and it's just lost. So a sales approach, walk me through your supply chain, and if you just know that our container has no product handling, and from the actual facility where you're super sacking to your end customer, that's it, then they will sell themselves. They'll say, we have handling here, we rent this container for this leg and this container for this leg, and all that's gone. How many people does it take you to do that? How much, that's gone. Product loss during shipping, okay, due to moisture. Even though it's in the super sacks and it's in a container, when it's on the ocean, you're still gonna have moisture come in. Those containers are not moisture-free, airtight. So they're gonna have moisture while it's on a ship. And who's to blame for that? They don't know, like, was the loading, was the unloading, whatever. Quality loss, your quality loss, not your product loss, but your quality loss is huge. Reduce labor, you can stay there. So, reduce labor costs. You can now get rid of bagging, loading, unloading, material handling. That's huge right there. I mean, people in the United States that handle materials make good money. All right, so it might not be so good over in Vietnam. You're like, how much it cost you to handle it over there? They're like, $50. I had 20 people working on it. So I would never go there. No, they say, hey, what you're handling over in Vietnam, don't ask because you lost that argument. But once it gets here, then it's very expensive. Your CapEx, that's what we talked about. You're not paying $1 million for a rail spur to come in. This is all U.S. You're not paying for rail cars. If they have rail spurs, they're usually buying those big rail cars too, or leasing them. They're expensive to lease. Right now, they're actually really cheap though because no sand's moving and the rail cars are just sitting there. But it's all right. Product inventory, no cost for material handling equipment, meaning all your conveyors, all of your gravity feed deals, all your forklifts, all your pallets. You don't have any of that. And your storage. So where are they storing that while they're bagging it? As opposed to they could just load it right into the container. No lease, they don't need more lease equipment. Warehousing. Now you can go from 10,000 square feet to 2,000 square feet in warehousing.
And you can go from indoor to outdoor.
Yeah, I'm thinking you don't even need a
Or from
warehouse.
site to site.
You don't even need warehousing. The reason they want warehousing is because they're bagging inside there.
Yeah.
You're no longer bagging. That's a great point. We can eliminate your warehousing.
Leave a yard. There's some kind of a yard
Yeah.
somewhere.
Cost savings due to the flexibility of the intermodal. So that's the flexibility allows you, just like what we said, storage. You want to move it here, you want to move it there. Like let's say that you had warehousing, and you had 2 warehousing locations. If you wanted to start bagging here and warehousing here or warehousing here, now you're just moving containers, your outdoor storage. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And let's say you wanted to move some of your product from Nevada just to Houston and let it sit in Houston. Otherwise, you'd have to build a storage facility there, build a silo there if you just wanted to house some of your product there. Saving time. We all know about saving time. Time is money. No demurrage. Standard. We have our standard 550 and 725.
What's in the line under the demurrage? No demurrage cost. What's that line?
It looks like contamination, but I can't.
You'll see that you're going to get it in a PowerPoint.
Okay, I see.
I don't know why.
It just.
It's because we took a
No, that's fine.
PowerPoint program, Microsoft, and put it to
Okay.
iPad, and they don't like each other, right?
Right.
They're rivals. Which product? Okay, so we have 2 different.
So you will be sending me this PowerPoint?
Yes, you'll have a
Correct.
PowerPoint.
Okay, great.
So the side, I think Gene was telling me that, you couldn't store these.
No, because you saw that hole at the bottom, 4 foot, 4 inch, 5 inch. So you get too many of those, that'll clog up.
So a coffee bean would be too big.
Coffee
I'm
being
thinking,
too
yeah,
big, coffee
we could
grounds
talk
would
about
work.
that, yeah. Coffee grounds would work.
Coffee grounds, but not coffee beans.
Yeah, coffee beans.
What's the
And-
smallest? Rice?
Rice would work.
That's the biggest, rather. Rice would be.
We just had the product test, I think. I'm not saying coffee beans wouldn't work because we haven't tested it. We haven't found 20 tons of coffee beans somebody wants to give us to let us run through the system. That's a lot of coffee to fill up this room. But I can't imagine it'd be very dangerous to hook up a 20-foot hose and have 5 psi shooting coffee beans. That thing got loose. You're gonna kill somebody, man. How'd he die? He got peppered with coffee beans, man. Went right through him. I mean, that could kill you.
Raleigh, have you thought about, or has it crossed either one of you guys' mind to present this at the World of Concrete show that's out here every year?
We thought about it last year, and you went.
When we went to it, I mean, that was back last February.
We weren't ready. We didn't
weren't
even have a
ready.
container.
We didn't have a container then. But it's the World of Concrete. It's coming up, in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
We would love
I think it's to the 2nd to the 5th.
Somebody needs to go. We need to go.
We can make that happen.
We can make it happen.
I think that
We
that's
might
why
need Intermobile in order for you to get us in, because we can't get in as individuals. So if we can
Interesting.
get access,
we do. Sure.
conventions won't allow, unless you have business licenses, you can't access the conventions.
Right.
So if we can get access as Intermobile representatives, then we can go in as buyers.
We'll do it.
Okay.
That last thing is container has a 10-year life when maintained. This says container has a 10-year life.
Okay.
Okay, which is big. People want to know if I'm buying this thing.
And that's
long it's gonna
minimal.
last. Minimal. It's a container. Kind
It
of
could
depends on
have
the
a,
product.
it
you're
could have a
putting in.
30-year life.
Could easily.
Yeah.
Okay,
Depends
so
on the product you're blowing.
this is how this product is used that people don't understand. They're like, well, what about your valves and what about all my replacement costs? Okay, so if I have this container and I'm shipping it every month, I'm loading it. Takes me a week to load it. It takes me a week or two to ship it somewhere, right? And then it comes back, so that takes another week to come back. So you're only using it twice a month. You're loading it up. You're sending it somewhere, and they're using that valve to empty it once a month. You're using the top hatch once a month and the bottom hatch once a month.
That's right.
Once a month is all you're using it. I mean, for as far as like any parts or
So,
replacement.
yeah, so you're talking about the 10-year life expectancy. That's for the equipment part. I mean the mechanical part of it.
No, that's more like
just the basic unit itself.
Okay.
so
Yeah,
everything
really
rusts.
basic.
Even rail cars rust.
Right.
Containers rust.
Mhm.
It depends on the product you're putting in there and
You know,
stuff like
burning
that.
sand and stuff, and it's abrasive.
But rail cars get there and they're gravity fed like we see, right? Like I showed you, the big box cars, they're gravity fed.
Right.
So they have to gravity. So they're walking around with a big old pipe, banging on that thing to make sure it doesn't stick and it's
All the
always
product.
flowing.
Right.
No one's banging on ours. We're blowing air. We're pneumatic. So I mean, we could go easy. You could go 20 years.
Yeah.
Depends on how you treat it, how you use it. You know, you have to. But it will. I mean, it's steel. So if it's outdoors always, which it always.
And
will
salt
be.
water.
And you got salt water. How much is your shipping? Are you just trucking and doing rail, and you're only in the United States or North America? It'll last longer. If you're going overseas,
Yeah.
you can't help that. Right?
So each individual part, like the rubber seal,
The rubber seal, will,
the rubber seal won't last. It won't
pneumatic
last.
system. I mean, all that's like
Right.
the warranty, obviously.
yeah.
Each part is warranty.
And the rubber seal and that hatch, if you're using it a lot, depends on how the conditions. It's not going to last 10 years, but those hatches you'll replace for $150 or something. You know, depends on how you look. And then obviously the handles, the valve handles. Like I said, you're using it 12 times a year.
Right.
Right.
It should never break on you.
It's true.
10 years, you've turned that handle 120 times.
Right.
Those handles are meant to be turned 120 times a month. You know, I mean, you see big old factories of those plastic handles. Sales approach, where am I at?
We just hit this page.
Yeah. Dry bulk. This
We already
that's a
talked about
density
that.
chart I was showing you with different products. So these are just the different models. Gross weight, this is what we were talking about. Almost everything you do in the US is going to be our standard. 550 cubic feet. Because you can't get more than 50,000 pounds on the back of a truck without going over the weight limit.
Yeah, you're at 80,000 pounds.
The
With
reason
the
we
truck
have
and
this
everything.
model is international. You can get to places, India, you can put however much you want to fit on that truck. They don't care. You know, Mexico, you know, well, they don't have weigh stations. So,
Right.
South America, you know, you can load like 75,000 pounds on the back of a truck in South America. So you can use, so this is more an international model. Or if you're going just rail to train.
Isn't Pocky Raj in India? Pretty sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I said, there are bulk density charts all over the internet that you can pull up, and they will tell you your cubic pounds. And you know, if you're at 100 cubic pounds at 550 cubic feet, that's going to be 55,000 pounds if you fill it up. If you're at 80, then it's going to be 45,000 pounds, 48,000. If you get down to 60, you could look at these. You get something with a bulk density at 60. 60 times 725, 6 times 7, I'm horrible at math, is like 45,000 maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So if you get something with a 60 bulk density, you could still use these high cubes. Because you're 45,000 pounds.
Right.
So, what's next? Utilizing rail, ships, we've already been through that. Traditional super sacks, this is huge. This is kind of what we were talking about.
Right.
You know, super sacks, they can cost, and this isn't $10 to $50 a sack, this is actually going to fix that.
Sister's flight. Okay.
$1 to $5. This is just you're going to save them money on their super sacks. You're only going to get 10 super sacks if they hold 1.5 tons. You can probably get up to 15. It just kind of depends. And a 20-foot ISO. We need to update this page here, so I'm going to get off of it. But we'll do that before we get y'all anything. That's just their FOB. So that kind of, gives you guys a little bit without overwhelming you guys, right?
Of course.
Make sure there's nothing else in here that I wanted to go over. I mean, our certifications. ISO certified ABS, we're the only hopper type that's AAR certified. Lloyd's, all of our CSC certifications. So that's big. Everybody that's doing anything wants to know what your certifications are. So that's pretty much it, man.
So CIMC and Maristar, they're like the number one container manufacturers in the world, right?
Correct.
So
CIMC.
CIMC is the largest container manufacturer in the world, and Maristar is the largest specialty container manufacturer.
So
So
this is considered a specialty
yeah,
container.
considered a
obviously.
specialty container.
Right, we went to both CIMC and Maristar for production. CIMC is our primary manufacturer, and if we, obviously if we overbook, we can go to Maristar. They have the same drawings, they have everything, and they made this container. CIMC is making our high cube that's going to be stored at one of our distributors out in Long Beach, right at that far from the shipping yard. So
What was I know another thing I was wondering.
You said you saw the video, the loading demonstration where we loaded
Yeah.
it, loaded down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of, until I came in, I seen it and I asked questions. I kind of was like, okay, I couldn't really, because the video was just a bunch of people standing around and just spraying stuff. It wasn't a lot of.
Okay, and this is a different
maybe
video.
The video maybe the video I seen was different because
see.
the one I seen was just the demonstration of it. Nobody was walking,
Yeah, this one's still a demo. You saw this one? This is just a
No,
test.
I didn't see it. I don't know if
Okay.
I seen that one or not.
It's really hard to show loading and unloading from one container into
Yeah,
another.
I didn't see this one. I think the one I seen was just raw footage.
So this is showing our PSI that we're pumping through. Okay, and this is that's our gauge. The PSI gauge is gonna show that this fills up separately, which is all of them. There's the piping system. There's the 20-foot hose I told you.
You're gonna get the real.
So yeah, he just opened up the first hopper there.
Yeah, so he just opened up the first hopper. Okay, so now, so this is where we're flowing into. That hose is what, that hose is what is gonna pump air into the system, okay? Which
Okay.
normally a truck would be right here.
Okay, yeah.
So that pumps it in, pumps air through this, and puts all the pressure down. And then that's the external. And we're pumping it 10 feet high, up in the air. Right here. And that shows the product going into there. There we are at over 5 PSI. There's that hose hooked up to that end piece. So it's still simple.
Yeah.
It's still just a container when it's all said and done.
Man.
Like I said, it's very difficult to show moving material from one container to another. You can't just outright blast it. You kill somebody.
That's still a funny thought.
Yeah.
Just blast all over.
So that's almost full. You can see that container is almost full now, and then there's the empty
Yes.
container. Done.
And what was the time?
It
Time
took about
frame
an
on
hour.
that? About an hour.
Yeah, it took about an
So
hour.
it takes about an hour to
But
complete.
that was our high cube.
Oh,
That's
that was the
725, and it had 4 hoppers.
I seen that. I thought I was tripping. I was like, man, that only had 4 hoppers.
Yeah. So where's the
So the high cube has 4 hoppers.
yeah the comparison? Where's my comparison?
Right here, yeah.
Crazy stuff. SpongeBob. How we got SpongeBob out there? So
No, that's the difference.
Oh,
between
this
the two.
okay.
There's the high cube and there's the standard.
So yeah, so you see how this one has
yeah.
4 hoppers, and the one out there only has 3.
And it's about
725 cubic
a
feet.
foot taller.
It's exactly a foot taller. It's 9'6",
And that was 8'6".
8'6".
And 8 foot wide, 20
Both
feet.
8
Other,
foot
other,
wide, 20
the only difference is it's a foot taller. All the other 2 dimensions are the same, 20 by 8.
And then I noticed on the original video that there's 2 on a truck.
You could put 2 on a truck, but not full.
Not full.
Oh, okay.
Because of the weight.
Yeah, the weight. I mean, you could if you had some really, if you were shipping feathers or something.
Yeah. Now, you know, I mean, you can put it on a flatbed and you can also put it on a chassis. Look, they make a 20-foot chassis. You've probably seen trucks like that running around with a
Yeah.
little 20-foot container and just a
And that's why I was gonna ask too, is there any plans of it, or maybe putting some wheels on this and making it an actual,
No.
we
It's
just
not an
hook
actual.
it up to
No.
just hook it up to a bobtail and just back up, pull
Yeah,
off.
that becomes cost prohibitive.
That's, you know, that you'd have to have a
Yeah, then
turning-
you couldn't do the intermodal thing
No,
and
it's,
all that, yeah.
what it is a shipping
Yeah,
container.
I mean, if somebody wanted to buy them and custom it out, they could turn it into a race car for all we care.
Pimp my container.
Yeah.
Container.
Next
So
time.
now,
If
if
you
that was
got lights on
if
it.
that was it for the sales
That's it, that's
process,
it.
now, okay, we've got a buyer.
Got a buyer.
Now what?
Okay.
I want to order 100 of these.
Yeah. So if I go to
That
Bill
was the
Wilder
next
and he's like,
question
yeah,
that I
let me
had.
get 50 of
Okay.
these.
How long does it take to get it?
Okay, well, let me
So what's
kinda-
that
let me go through-
process?
Let me go through here. First thing I